West Ham versus Chelsea, London derby, London Stadium. It's a big game, big game. You feel? I mean, it's only game week 5. I get that, but I tell you what, I've had a few comments on here, and do you know what? I totally agree with people saying you can't keep saying this early on the season. I get bored of saying it, really. I get bored of thinking it as well. Do you know what I mean? Because when does that stop? When do you keep saying it's really early on in the season? I understand it kind of is, but at the same time, you know, in another 5 games, we're 10 games into a season, and that's more than a quarter of it gone. Do you know what I mean? So it's not that you can't keep just saying that it's so early in the season, it doesn't matter. It does matter. I feel now like the time is kind of coming for West Ham where we've got to start seeing something in terms of promise for this season. I'm not suggesting that I want to see the finished article. I'd love to see that, but I'm not anticipating that. Just something, do you know what I mean? Just a bit more of like, yeah, we can see now that we are pushing forward and send the right message to the rest of the league, to the fans, everything, that we are really up for this, that we are going for Europe this season. And this is a prime time to be doing it now. Let's talk about Chelsea, though. Before we go into West Ham, let's talk about Chelsea. A really peculiar football club at the moment, aren't they? I mean, they have been for a while. I mean, ever since the whole Abramovich sale because of the Ukraine situation. Obviously, Todd Bowley coming in. Is it Lakeview as well? Clear Lake that are the sort of majority owners of the club, which I think sometimes gets a little bit lost in all of this. In terms of the club itself, it seems a bit of a shambles, really. It feels like a real mess. They've got an abundance of money. I don't think money's not the problem for that football club. It just feels like they just don't really know what's going on. There's so much in-house fighting and this ownership struggle at the moment. So looking into it a bit more, I was a bit surprised to learn of Bowley's power at the club, because from an outsider looking in, if you don't really know a lot about what's going on at Chelsea, Bowley's the main man, isn't he? He's the one that his face is there. He's always at the games. He's the one who burst in dressing rooms last season, all that kind of stuff. But he only owns, 12% of the football club, whereas Clearlake owns 61%. Now, what appears to be the situation is that Bowley wants to buy them out, and they want to buy out Bowley. So it's a real struggle going on. And it kind of epitomises, I think, where Chelsea are, which is just a bit of a mess, really. They just seem like they're all over the place. Hard to keep up with it. Hard to keep up with player contracts, players that are bringing in, players that are leaving, managers, ownership. They flogged their hotel, I believe, to help fund player sales, i.e. to balance the books in terms of financial fair play. It just feels like a bit of a mess. If I was a Chelsea fan, I'd be really concerned and feeling like, where is this going to end? Because I don't look at Chelsea at the moment and feel there's any sustainability there. Do you know what I mean? This can't carry on. This has to come. It feels like at some point it's going to go pop. You can't just continually forking out hundreds of millions of pounds on new players, putting them on these massive contracts, 10-year contracts for 300 grand a week, and just doing that over and over again because you're trying to stretch your payments each season so you can comply with financial fair play or PSR, whatever. I mean, that can't go on, can it? I mean, how's that going to go on? Because at the end of the day, what you're doing is you're banking on those players to be a success. They have to do well. Do you know what I mean? You can't, any cock up, or let's just say 3 or 4 of those players cock up and you need to get rid of them. How are you going to get rid of them? Who's going to buy them out of these contracts? It really is a mess, it feels like, at Chelsea, but it is what it is. I mean, I've just seen on the recent news from Chelsea, just preparing for this video, and it's Mudryk is up for sale. The player they spent an absolute fortune on. I think he's on astronomical wages. They're now trying to flog him, and they're going to struggle to do so. It's just sort of epitomises my point. It just feels like, rolling the dice a lot, isn't it, with what they're doing? It doesn't feel like, from an outsider looking in at Chelsea, there's a coherent plan and they know exactly what they're doing. It just feels a little bit knee-jerk, everything. And yeah, not good from a Chelsea standpoint, certainly. But very, very strange. But having said all that, they haven't started the season badly, actually. I don't think they've been too bad. They've played 4, won 2, drawn 1. And they've only lost 1 game this season. That against Man City opening day, 2-0. Obviously, no shame in that, of course. With the way Man City are at the moment, been absolutely relentless and ruthless, haven't they, City? They look uncharacteristically like so for Man City, really. Just seem to be, dominating and a team that are very hungry for another title. So as I say, I don't think there's any shame in that. So Chelsea haven't started the season too badly. I mean, they got a big result against Bournemouth last week. I say big result, but a good result. 1-0 win. I mean, it came quite late, but they're not looking too bad. But yeah, I've been impressed with them overall. Actually, I don't, in terms of their football, I don't think they've been too. I was expecting worse from them because of what's going on at the club. You know what I mean? I'm kind of anticipating not to be too bad. But obviously, they brought with a new manager in, Maresca, Enzo Maresca, and I think he's been okay. I mean, he reminds me of Mikel Arteta. He reminds me a little bit of him. And I appreciate it's because he's come from the sort of Pep Guardiola school of management. But the way he's come into Chelsea, he's quite ruthless. He's not afraid to upset a few players. He makes big decisions. I mean, he's omitted the likes of Cole Palmer from the Europa squad. I mean, a bit peculiar, a bit strange. But again, in a way, I quite respect it because it's almost like he's going, look, I'm going against what I don't care what others are saying. This is what I want to do. He definitely seems quite a ruthless leader, as I say, and it kind of reminds me of that Arteta when he came into Arsenal, when he cleared out a lot of the players there that are causing issues like Aubameyang, etc. I sort of get the feeling that that's what's going on at Chelsea. They'll certainly be hoping he has the same sort of impact. It's far too early to tell, isn't it, whether he's going to. I know from speaking to a few Leicester fans, they weren't too unhappy about losing him, even though he was in the Championship. I know he got them up, but I think there was a lot of issues last season. They felt that they could have done a lot better. They had a fair few dips in form, so it's hard to say. And the thing is with Chelsea, it almost feels a bit. It doesn't matter how good you are as a manager. I know, you know what I mean? Regardless, because ultimately it feels like whatever you do there, you're going to lose your job at some point. I mean, the fact is they got rid of Pochettino, who, got them playing. He felt like they had something going on there at Chelsea last season, and then they decided to cut ties with him. I mean, there's more issues going on. I know he had a bit of a fallout with Bowley, etc. So I understand it was not just about what was going on the pitch; it was also stuff off of it. But regardless of that, that's what I mean. It's like, he was doing a good job there, and yet still they pull him away. Very strange. But it is what it is. I mean, I've been overall though. I've actually felt like they've been better than I expected on the pitch. I think West Ham are in for a tough game. Regardless of the chaos that's gone on and ongoing at that football club, they're still a decent side. They've got some really, really top draw players. You've got Cole Palmer, Neto obviously came from Wolves, stunning player. You've got Nicholas Jackson as well, I think starting to improve now. It's obviously a big deal. 2033 or something contract. I mean, don't ask me. I don't know how what's going on. I mean, who's running things there and sanctioning all this? I have no idea. But look, it's what they're doing. They're cracking on with it. Let them get on with it. But I still think that they're a decent side. They are. They're not a bad team, and they're going to give West Ham a tough game, regardless of that. And I think they are going to be a side. If they can keep their team fit, I mean, they've got enough bloody players to. You'd expect them to be challenging for the European places this season. It's obviously, it just feels like to me, you wouldn't be surprised if there's another big disaster around the corner for them. There's another big moment come in, maybe a financial hit, maybe points deductions. You just feel like something's happening, not good with the way things are being run. But as it stands at the moment, I look at them and think that, do you know what? If you forget all that noise and what's going on there, and just look on the pitch, purely that, they're not a bad side. They're actually looking okay, and they've shown that they are capable of getting results. And I think West Ham are going to have to, we're going to play well. It's a big game for West Ham, big game for Chelsea as well. They all know that. They want to, as I say, they want to push themselves into the European chasing sides, and I think they're sitting seventh at the moment, so they're not doing too bad. But with West Ham, I feel like it's more important for us. This is a really big game for Julen Lopetegui as well. He needs the fans on side. I'm not saying the fans, he hasn't lost the fans or anything like that, but you need that momentum now. We need to see something and go, right, we're up for this season, and this is a prime game to do that. London derby, obviously televised. Against a team, Chelsea, that is, as I say, I'm not suggesting they're, I've just been saying how decent they are, but they're not Man City. You know what I mean? It's not a team or an Arsenal where you're thinking we're going to be exceptionally good to get a result here. I feel like with Chelsea, if you play well and, play decent, you can get a result. Just put in a decent performance. I think that's what's needed. I think we need to show some confidence and show some bloody bravery. On to West Ham, though. I mean, it's been an indifferent start, hasn't it? for Lopetegui. It hasn't been what a lot were expecting. I mean, look, it is only a few games in, so I'm certainly not saying that anything's bad. Or as I've said in previous videos, I've still got a lot of high hopes for the season. I still think that we can, once we get running, we're going to be fine. I think we will get going, and I'm seeing improvements at West Ham from what we're seeing last season. Defensively, we look far more solid. We are retaining the ball better. And there are sort of glimpses. You look at the Man City performance, especially second half. We played some really good football and we really had them against the ropes. So there's certainly big signs there, but then you get the Fulham performance and the lineup, the alarm bells start to ring. So I really want to see these things ironed out quickly. And I really want this kind of, early season sort of talk now to sort of go away. And I feel like with a big win against Chelsea, it would just settle things down and build a bit of excitement, get the momentum going. And we need that now. We need that because obviously we've got a point against Fulham. Regardless of the performance, it's a good result. Going to Fulham, who are a good Premier League side, solid side, who I imagine are going to be eyeing top half finishing this season. I think to go there and get a point is a good result. Of course, we also got 3 points away at Palace. So it hasn't been a bad start for us, but we need now, I feel like, a big home performance and a scalp. And I think Chelsea, okay, they're not the Chelsea of old. They're not a team that you'd consider chasing for titles this season, but they're still a big club with big players. And I think it would send the right message if we can go and get 3 points against them. It's interesting, right? Because I always I use it sometimes about must win. I say this is a must win game, and I think some people, and I understand why, but some people go, well, it's not must win. Don't be stupid, because some people take that term must win as you must win, otherwise you're going to get relegated, or you must win, or if you don't win it, you're not going to win the league or something. I don't take it as that. I'm not saying must win because if we lose, it's an absolute disaster. But you feel like if West Ham don't win this game, it's like questions are going to start to be raised, especially if we don't put in a good performance as well. If we play really well and don't win, that's slightly different. You know what I mean? You just think, well, you're just undone by a better team or bad luck or whatever, but we played really well. There's something to build on. But if we play badly and lose or don't get the result, then you start to think, look, this isn't looking great now. That we're 5 games in. Because bearing in mind, Lopetegui's had a full pre-season. He's had 4 Premier League games thus far, a cup game, and of course an international break in there as well, a couple of weeks to work with the team. So it's not like he's arrived last week. Do you know what I mean? We've had quite a fair amount of time now working with this team, working with his ideas, his coaching methods, etc., with these players. So I want to start seeing that a bit more. I can, and as I've just said, I know that things have improved slightly. I know that the defending has improved, and we do look better in certain areas, but I want to see a bit more. I want to see now a side that is showing a promise of being a team that's going to challenge for Europe, which haven't really seen that yet. As I say, we sort of maybe got a bit of a glimpse of it against City, but ultimately it's not enough. We need to see it again at home against a team like Chelsea. We want to show that we aren't going light for light with these, but we're better than them. And we've got the players that can certainly do that. So it's a big game. So, using the term must win, but I feel like it is a little bit for Lopetegui. He needs to get the 3 points here. I don't feel like a draw. As I say, if it's a good draw, we play very well, get a draw, okay, it's a little bit different. But if it's a draw or a defeat that's not with a lackluster performance, I feel like concerns will start to raise. And the last thing we need is that. We don't want any negativity to start creeping in, because that conversation will begin then, not just amongst fans. I think in the press. I think that let's get it straight. The press are absolutely desperate for this to go tits up at West Ham, because they will just be like, "I told you so. Told you shouldn't have got rid of Moyes." I mean, we don't want that, So big game, big game as far as I'm concerned. And in regards to that as well, obviously kind of obvious. I do not want to see Mikel Antonio or Thomas Souček start this game. And I'm not trying to attack them individually, but we've got better players. End of. Not seen enough out of Antonio this season to suggest that he should be starting. He's been really poor for West Ham so far this season. I was really disappointed to see him start against Fulham. I think it was just a stupid decision. Because in the fact he's just been bloody travelling everywhere with Jamaica, which I've made my points clear on that. I think it's ridiculous him doing it anyway. But I don't want to see it. It really will not send the right message if we've got Fulkrug on the bench and Bowen out on the right, Antonio play. I just don't want to see it. All right, I'm not impressed with Antonio enough this season. As far as I'm concerned, he needs to work back into this side. I don't want to see it. And there's certainly not Thomas Souček. We've got better players on that pitch now. I want to see a different style of football. Don't get me wrong, Thomas Souček has got a job to do at West Ham still. He can still, he can still do jobs. There'll be certain games he'll be utilised, but for this, no, I don't want to see it. And that's how I feel. Nicholas Füllkrug's obviously a big question mark in regards to his fitness. I think he's going to be available, from what I understand it. Lopetegui's comments were pretty positive in terms of fitness in the squad. I've got a feeling he's going to be available. We knew it was quite a minor ankle complaint, so he should be available. The question mark is, does he start? Now, that's going to be the big question, isn't it? Do you then lead with Jarrod Bowen up front or Lopetegui with Füllkrug? Do you lead with Jarrod Bowen up front, or do you go with Füllkrug? It's up for debate. I'd like to know your thoughts on it. I'm going to give my team. I'd like to know yours, actually. I do want to know your teams. I want to know your scores as well. I'm going to get onto that now. So this is my team. I've gone slightly different here than last time. I'm going to go for Areola in goal, of course. Aaron Wan-Bissaka as right back. I want to see Todibo start. Obviously, I don't know enough about how he's performing at training, etc. But I'm becoming concerned, actually. If he's not good enough or he's not ready yet, I'm starting to question that. Why is he not ready yet? What's going on? Because we're not hearing anything about injury. I'm just becoming a bit lost as to what's happening there. It feels odd. And at the end of the day, we've brought this player in, a highly rated defender, to partner Max Kilman. I want to see that partnership now. It's got to start. And I just don't trust Mavropanos. I just feel like the guy's got a mistake in him every game. And it's always a bloody big one. And I don't want to see it. I want to see Todibo start. Look, Todibo could come on and have a car crash. All right. And then I'll be thinking, well, hold my hands, I've got it wrong. But I just want to see it now. I know that he came on against Bournemouth in the Cup and didn't look too great. I wouldn't say came on, he started, but yeah, he didn't start too well and had to come off. I mean, it was a bit worrying, some of the things he was doing, but that was quite a while ago now. I feel like he's had enough time to be training with the team. I just want to see it. So I'm going with Aaron Wan-Bissaka at right back, Todibo, Kilman, and Emerson. I understand Emerson should be available, but it's still a bit touch and go. But let's wait and see. It was certainly played down by Lopetegui in regards to his injury. Now, in midfield, I'm going to go for Edson Alvarez, of course. I mean, our main midfielder for me, you can't, if he's available, he plays. He just makes such a big difference to the side. I want Lucas Paqueta to partner him in the midfield today to start with. I just feel like I want to start experimenting with a few things in this team. I want to see how things shape up. So I'd like to see Paqueta play a slightly deeper role and possibly alternating with Mohamed Kudus. I want Kudus playing ahead of them in the middle, but playing more attacking. Paqueta playing slightly deeper, but understanding that sometimes they might alternate. If Paqueta goes forward, then Kudus has to drop or whatever, work out someone to come and cover. But that's what I would do. So Alvarez, Paqueta, Kudus playing through the middle. I'll go have Jarrod Bowen out on the right. I'll go have Somerville out on the left. And I'll go have Nicholas Füllkrug up front. It's a little bit out there, but I just want to see a change. I don't want to see Kudus on the left anymore. It doesn't work. He's too isolated. He's not suited for that position at all. Somerville has done more than enough. I talked about it yesterday's video. He's done more than enough now to be in that side. He's been impressive every time he's been called upon. I want to see him start. It'd be good for the player as well. He needs to feel like he's getting into this side. I think we don't go down the Moyes route of players playing really well and then you just don't see them. They're dropped again. You're just thinking, well, hang on, he just played better than him. Why are you not playing? All I'm saying is, right, who are you going to play on the left, Kudus or Somerville? Somerville for me. Regardless of how good Kudus is, I know how fucking brilliant he is, but regardless of that, Somerville's a better left winger. He's better suited there. So for me, that's what we should be doing. As I say, Kudus in the middle, and then Somerville on the left, Füllkrug up front and Bowen out on the right. And obviously, I say Paqueta, partnering Alvarez in the middle. That's what I would do with the view of then changing things as the game progresses. But look, it's hard to predict this game, isn't it? Really difficult. Both sides are so unbloody predictable at the moment. West Ham's, showed a great second half performance against City, then a dreadful performance against Fulham. So it's very difficult to predict. But it is at home. It's on Sky. It's being televised. I've still got this feeling we're going to get a result. I've got this feeling. I think we've got a half-decent record against Chelsea as well. And I think we will raise our game. We'll be right up for it. It's not going to be easy. It's a big game, this one. But I think we're going to win it. I'm going for West Ham 3, Chelsea 1. I think it's going to be a good day for us. I bloody hope I'm right. Let me know what you think. Come on, your hands.